Okay, so now that you've looked at that Ch3 window video that was made by Wilbur, hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into the Ch3 window and how it helps us understand who we are, and it increases our awareness. And a couple of things you want to do to grow in self-awareness, and some people may say, well, okay, who cares? Why would I want to be more self-aware? Well, when you're more self-aware, you can understand the areas in which you need to grow, the things that you do when you're communicating with others that probably is not the most beneficial to the relationship or to the habits that you've picked up that may not be good habits when it comes to communication. So if you're going to improve as a communicator, you have to have an awareness of who you truly are. So the first thing is you're going to ask yourself about yourself, and it seems very silly to do that, but I do like the textbook example of, or recommendation, to figure out what are your strengths and weaknesses and how do they impact one another. Also just writing things about who you are. So I am blank, I am this, I am that, and figuring out really who are you and who do you want to be. So also looking at those self-improvement goals that your textbook mentions, I think is very helpful. And even having a new self-improvement goal once a week or once a month can help you kind of direct your communication tendencies to a certain specific thing that you want to do better. The next thing that you need to do in order to increase your self-awareness is listen to other people. And this can be especially difficult because most of the time when people are criticizing how we behave or who we are, they don't tend to do it in the most kind way. So oftentimes they can be quite aggressive or hurtful. And the problem is we have a tendency just to discard everything they say because we didn't like the method in which they delivered it. But we also need to understand that what they're saying is probably useful information. They certainly shouldn't have communicated that way, but we can still take that information and make some positive changes. I know that sometimes my husband will tell me, you know, you do this all the time and I really wish that you wouldn't. It really disables our communication. And I just think, you know, what a jerk. He didn't have to bring that up. It's been a long week and I can come up with a load of excuses. But the point is there is truth to what he said. And just because I didn't like the timing or the way he said it, or I didn't like the fact that I'm not perfect, which is one of my self-destructive beliefs, I tend to get into the mindset that I can just ignore what he said, and really that's not helpful to my relationship with him. The third thing is actively seek information about yourself. Ask other people. Do you think I'm assertive? Do you think that I was too critical? Do you think that I could be more compassionate when dealing with that person? Ask people about your communication style. Ask them about your behaviors because a lot of people won't offer it up to you. But if you give them the outlet or you give them the opportunity, they will give you that feedback. And then it's not given in conflict or in strife. It's given in a very level-headed conversation that truly helps you understand who you are. The next is see your different selves. We all have multiple roles in our lives. So for example, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a neighbor, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, and I can look at all of those different roles and look at who I am in each of those different roles and then try to figure out what am I good in certain areas, where are some areas where I could improve, and see what are the things that carry through to all of those different roles that is truly who I am, and what are some tendencies that I may have when I'm only around certain people that may not be who I want to be. So I may have a tendency, let's say with one of my friends to, when we get together, we gossip a lot. And so I may look at my self-awareness and say, gosh, I think that I'm starting to learn that I'm kind of somebody who likes to gossip. And then I can say, well, wait a second though, but I don't gossip with my neighbor next door or my coworker at work, so maybe it's just this one friend. And then I can almost evaluate, well, it's that one person that I'm doing it with. These other two I'm not. So I may not be necessarily a gossip of a person, but in that particular situation, I may be. So time to evaluate, is that a person that I want to spend time with, or could I maybe be that different person to that friend so that she maybe wouldn't gossip either? And last but not least, you're going to increase your open self. So you want to self-disclose is what we call it. Share information about yourself. And that tends to, one, make people like you a little bit more, but it also has to be done gradually and with good motivation. And for some reason, the more we know about somebody, the more we feel like they're transparent. And we say, I really like him because he's very transparent. They're not trying to hide who they are. They're not trying to be somebody who's perfect. They're really sharing all of who they are. And we tend to like people like that who let us into their lives. So definitely increase your open self. Share with other people. Don't overshare. Don't be an over disclosure, because we don't like people like that. It makes us uncomfortable. But try to be transparent with the people that you're already close with and people that you spend a significant amount of time with that you would like to be more closely engaged with. All right, so self-concept we've talked about. Who are you? Self-awareness. What do you know about who you are? And then last but not least, how valuable do you think you are? So this is your self-esteem. And your value is going to be seen in how people treat you most often. That's where we get our value. So we want to, I'm going to jump to number 2, we want to seek out nourishing people. People who think good things about us, people who value who we are, people that need things from us, people that count on us, people that truly look forward to being around us and that provide encouraging words. Now, they may also give you some insight into things that you should change, but they do it in a kind and compassionate way. The first thing on here is attack the self-destructive beliefs that you may have. And I thought those were very good on the top of page 61. And those destructive beliefs to be perfect, to be strong, to please everyone, to hurry, to do more. Those are all things that are self-destructive because we can't do any of those things all the time. We can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect. There'd be no reason for me to continue to try to be perfect. All I need to do is try my best and push my boundaries so I can maybe reach a new goal, achieve a new goal, or reach a new level. I need to be strong. Sometimes it's nice to show weakness. People tend to like others that have weaknesses because we don't want to be around somebody who's perfect or somebody who thinks I have to be strong all the time and can't show any weaknesses. It gets to be a little bit overwhelming to be around somebody who just feels so strong all the time and they're never weak. The next is to please everyone. You can't please everyone, and you really do need to meet some of your own needs first before you can actually go ahead and take care of other people. I need to hurry. I can't waste time. That's a very dangerous one. Usually when we hurry, we don't do a good job at the things that we're working on. And 2, it tends to elevate our stress levels, which is bad for our health. And last but not least, I need to do more. That goes along with the hurrying thing. I think we hurry so we can just fit more in. The more I hurry, the more I have room on my plate to add some more stuff. But we don't need to do more. If anything, in this society, we're multitasking and we're just doing too much. And I think that you see that in just how unhealthy we are. Just as a broad brush generalization, we have more illness in the United States than really anywhere else because of the need to do more. And I mean that by anxiety and depression, those types of things. Obviously, there's some more physical ailments that third world countries have that we don't, but I think that taxation of we have to do so much leads to that high levels of depression and anxiety in this country. So just get rid of those beliefs. They're not true, they're not helpful to you, and you don't have to be any of those things. So stop trying to be those things. And then work on projects that will result in success. And this one always reminds me of my husband because I have a tendency to say to him, hey, could you go fix the garage door? It's not working. Well, I know very well that my husband is not a handyman. That is not an area in which he excels. It's not a goal of his either. He's not the type of person that says, I really want to get better at fixing things around the house. At least to my knowledge, it's not. So when I go ask him to do that, I have to understand 2 things. Is one, I'm setting him up for failure, which means he'll feel bad that he wasn't able to do what I asked him to do. And 2, it will actually lower his self-esteem because he's not going to succeed in the project and he's going to feel bad that he wasn't able to figure it out. So I learned several years ago that it was much better for me to call a handyman and spend the extra money to get something fixed by somebody who knew what they were doing than to ask him to do it, because it wasn't making him feel any better. He felt like he was letting me down. I was frustrated because it wasn't fixed, and it just didn't lead to positive time between the two of us in our relationship. So try to work on projects that result in success and ask other people to do the same. Last but not least, secure affirmation. Affirmation means positive statements, things that you would say that would make you feel good about yourself. Now, you can say them yourself, or you can ask other people. Some of the self-affirmation statements in your textbooks were I am statements. I am capable of being responsible. I am a good team player. I'm a good friend. I'm a good neighbor. I'm a good daughter. I'm a good teacher. And then I can statements. I can learn how to be a better teacher. I can try harder to eat healthy. I can work to yell less. All of those statements would be more affirmative. And last but not least are the I will statements, to focus on useful and appropriate goals. So I will study more, I will work out more, I will spend more time with my kids, I will play less, I don't know, video games for my children who are always doing that. And for my husband right now would be I will play less Candy Crush. I will play less Candy Crush is what I meant to say there. So anyways, hopefully those affirming statements can also be something to get used to saying to yourself, because most of us, we have a negative soundtrack in our heads, and all that soundtrack does is serve to tell us who we're not going to be, and why we're so worthless. And what we need to do is replace that negative soundtrack with a positive soundtrack that says, I can be better, I am a good person, and I will try to improve my communication. All of those things are affirmative statements that will help us feel better and improve our self-esteem. So hopefully that helped you get to where you needed to be and understand the rest of Chapter 3. And I'll be back next week with Chapter 3, second half, and perception.